Why, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Anime Club podcast. You know, third time is really the charm, and we're finally on time this time. I am Knick-Knack, and with me today, I've got the great Lord Vorn.
I am the best in the world!
Realm Shifter.
I have ascended beyond this plane. Or is that just... No, I think that's just the T talking.
And Seki.
Yeah, thanks.
Alright, so heads up. This week we watched Overlord, episodes 1 through 13, so spoiler alert.
Waifu wars, waifu wars,
Waifu wars, waifu wars.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll start with Morn.
Mine is Nabel Gamma and Princess Reiner.
Harem, okay.
Alright, mine is Shaltier, because I got a thing for vampires, but not the Twilight kind.
Sparkle, sparkle.
How dare you?
More than I needed to know about your female preferences.
Hey,
Mine
Monster
is
Girls.
Demiurge.
Monster Girls are great.
Demiurge, clearly best one.
Demiurge is the
Yes.
best waifu, and he is the best character, and I will fight you on that.
Well, Vorn's already cheated and picked a waifu not in this season,
We have no
Or-
rules!
so I'm gonna cheat. My waifu is the OP of Overlord, all of them, because they're just that much of a slapper.
Knick-Knack has a harem of OPs. Just... Knick-Knack is a man of culture.
Okay, but also he called them slappers.
They're knee slappers.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, they
Just
are
saying.
really good. Come on, you gotta give them that.
Would
Yeah,
you
they are
prefer if
good.
I called
Yeah.
them bangers?
Yes, I'd prefer if you called them bangers.
Alright, bangers it is then.
Okay.
Alright, well, let's get into the episodes. Why don't you get us going, Realm Shifter?
Yes, I was actually the one who suggested this series, so I will introduce this off. So, to start off, we have our main character, Momonga, and he is in the game Yggdrasil.
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 Thank you, our resident linguist.
Yes, because I cannot speak Nordic,
It's okay, not a lot of people can nowadays.
so... So anyways, so this is the game that our character Momonga plays, and he ends up getting trapped when the servers shut down.
Does he get hit by truck kun?
No, he does
No.
not. He does not die like another isekai that I will not name of because that is not what this episode is about. So...
Dang.
So he just he stays until the server shuts down because of all the hard work his guild members put into this Minecraft server of theirs.
Well, and also, quite frankly, it's just kind of sad that this is his entire life and he's this invested.
Hey,
like-
he's a salary man. What can
Okay.
you blame the guy for?
I get it.
He's
but,
probably
like,
working the worst 9-to-5 job ever.
Okay, I get it, but like, still, way to be a weird gamer.
Okay,
I'm
but,
MLG Pro.
but this is accurate. Have you ever seen some World of Warcraft players?
You know what? One of my professors is a World of Warcraft player, and he warned us never to get into World of Warcraft
Yeah.
because of the hundreds of hours he has spent without showering, hunched over his
If
computer.
you need an accurate representation for what it's like for people who play World of Warcraft, just watch the South Park episode on it. But that's another topic.
Well,
So continuing along, before we get
Yes.
too off topic, we find out that he is now trapped in this world after the server shut down for some reason. It's not really clear why. We don't know if he's maybe just transferred over into another game or if he's actually in a separate universe. Either way, he is now his in-game avatar as an undead skeleton.
as you do in Isekai.
Yes.
He is a lich.
He,
I have
he-
a lich character. I love liches.
That is a subclass of his, as far as I remember. If you look at the actual Overlord compendium for what his classes are, but
He's an elder lich.
yes. So, we actually first meet one of the NPCs, and that's Albedo, where he does not remember this level being able to interact with the NPCs. So this is the first episode that kind of turned Seki off to the series because it just kind of seems kind of too fan servicey. The rest of the series doesn't really get like this,
Okay,
but it's like kind of unnecessary.
yeah, he spends like 5 minutes of screen time groping her chest.
Hey, I want to say that at the very least, it's not like T.H.E series where literally
No.
that's the entire point of the show.
But
So,
it feels
but
that way
not
for
knocking
that
on you if you
moment.
watch T.H.E, but that's a point. So,
Yep.
I mean, it is. I get it. But also, when I first watched the first episode of this, like, I want to say it must have been a year ago when one of you showed it to me.
It was Realm.
Yeah,
it was.
I was definitely off it. I was like, I cannot watch this with my family around. I cannot watch this in public. I do not want to be caught watching this. I do not want someone to look over my shoulder and see a skeleton groping a very well endowed woman's chest. Also, I really hate Albedo. Period. I just hate her.
Welcome to anime. You can't watch it with your parents around.
Excuse
Yep.
you. I have so far managed to watch every single thing of anime that I have watched with my parents around so far.
Data Live?
That doesn't count.
All right, so
Data Live was a garbage fire like hobos gather around.
all right, guys. So let's stop digressing and get back on topic here.
Good idea. So after that wonderful chest groping scene with Ainz. Oh, I should probably mention that is the name of the guild that he was a part of.
Ainz Ulgo.
Ainz Ulgon. And then he takes that name because it was such a well-known guild throughout the world. So his hope is that there are also real players in this world that will be able to recognize him because of the name. So just got to get that quick explanation out of the way.
Which is that's actually a pretty good plot point. Is that he wants to make the name of the guild famous, so that just in case there's another player trapped here, they can find him.
Right,
Yeah.
and also to spread the good word of Ainzul Gone.
And to be fair, I didn't make it. I did not make a full arc past the Lizardmen arc. I'm like partway through one of the arcs in season 2, the 6-fingered, 8-armed.
Well, let's avoid
Whatever.
spoiling season 2 here.
Yeah.
But that's so I don't know if another character from the same game comes in.
So I just want to I would just want to interject real quick that even though that first episode really was not your style, the rest of the series was, because you ended up going into season 2.
I did, and I do intend to finish season 3 and watch season 4 when it comes out. I just have a busy life and do not have time to watch anime like a true weeb.
Anyways, so his plan from this point onward is to spread his name throughout the land of this unknown world that he is currently in.
So what you're saying is he wants Senpai to notice him.
Yes.
Yep.
And Senpai is the world in this case.
Yes.
Anyways, so
I think it's interesting, and this is going to be over the course of the entire first season. I think it's interesting just how many things transfer, like command-wise and user-wise, from the game he played to the world. It makes it a lot easier for him because all the stuff is accessed the same pretty much.
right.
And they have a similar system of classing things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, as the world is concerned, like, and so he's an Elder Lich, and he's super overpowered. He is like over-leveled for this world.
Yeah.
Like, he has magic that people in the current world that he is in cannot obtain.
It's
like,
the magic of the gods,
yeah,
literally.
yes, that is what it's called in the series.
But it seems weird whenever, like, there is no human who's ever been able to use magic above level, like magic has levels in this world. So you gotta wonder where these, like, arbitrary, like, separations of magic come from that you normally would get in video games.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's probably just, I mean, the best guess I can give to that is it's just to denote, like, how high up a magic is on the scale. That's my best guess. And numbers are a very simple way of explaining that.
Yeah.
So, but that's a bit of a minor plot point, but like big to the overall grand scheme of things, I
Yeah.
suppose.
How about them floor guardians?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Demiurge!
good old Demiurge, Albedo,
twins.
Sheltier, yes, the
Yeah.
twins.
Ooh,
Albedo isn't
Fudge
a
Albedo.
floor
Fudge
guardian. She's
No,
the
yeah,
leader
yeah,
of
she's
the floor guardians.
she's the leader of the floor guardians, but she still kind of falls under the same boat as being one of the NPCs, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is an NPC, but, fudge her.
Okay, let's be fair to Albedo here. Ainzul Gone basically turned a character that someone else wrote and made her OOC.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I wish she hadn't added that stupid line. I bet she could have been such a good character without it.
I
But,
mean,
fudge her.
I don't know. We'll never know because that
Yeah.
wasn't what happened.
Mhm.
And in fairness to Momonga, he had no way of knowing that he would just be trapped. He did it as a joke at the last minute when he thought the servers were going to kick him out of the game.
Fair.
Yep.
Very fair. And from what I understand, she's not there in the novel.
Who?
Albedo.
No, she's in the novel.
No,
Not
she
in the
is.
original web novel.
Yeah,
Not in the
not
original web novel,
Yeah, not in the web
but
novel.
she is
Demiurge is the leader of the Floor Guardians, from what I understand.
from the web novel. I think I didn't actually look up the original web novel, but I think in the full release, Albedo is there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've read the light novels. I don't think any of us read the web novel.
No, none of us have read
Yeah.
the web
No.
novels. I've looked up some of the differences, and some of the differences are very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like we'll get more into that if we ever go into future seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really starts to show during season 2 and season 3 a
But
lot.
speaking of episodes, I think we can move on to episode 2.
I think because episode 2 was basically covering the Floor
Yeah.
Guardians,
Yeah.
so we can move on to episode 3 now.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens in episode 3 is they go into a nearby village where basically the whole place of Ainzulgaun, the whole guild, spawned in this world, supposedly. So they go investigate this nearby village because it is being raided by another kingdom. Because it's sort of like a how do you describe it? It's sort of like a transitory point
It's
between it and the kingdom over.
it's a border town.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a border town. That's what it is.
Well, that's what they think, but if I remember right, we come to find out that it was all a trap. Or, what was his name? Gazef?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all a trap for Gazef, so that way he would come and try to rescue this town.
Question. Was that a plot point I missed because I was sick, or was that a plot point we hear about in a different season?
No,
No,
was
that's-
That was
something you
said in it,
missed.
so probably just
Okay,
because you were
So,
sick.
yeah, just for everyone's knowledge, I have been extremely ill for the last week and a half watching this, and there are some things I may have just missed.
By the way, due to that, she watched this series on dub. So everyone shame
Yeah.
her now.
Yeah.
I wish I had my
Shame. We
I-
are
I just-
purists
I
here.
literally just could not look at the screen of my TV. It was too painful to look at the bright lights, so I put it on dub. Because I could hear it that way.
Shame.
Shame.
Oh yeah, actually, the reason why Lord Ainz decided to actually help them is because he remembered a message.
Guildmate named
Yeah.
Touch Me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he remembered the values
Instantly,
of his guildmate.
the algorithm has hated us.
By the
Yes.
way, I love the names of some of the players.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Touch me, son.
No, so Touch Me isn't my favorite. There's the
Right.
other one.
Hold
The
on,
name is,
hold on. We're going to
super
get into
long.
them a little bit, so let's wait for
Yeah,
that.
we'll
We'll probably get to them around the final arc.
Yeah.
So we'll get to the guild.
Okay.
We'll get to the guild members after.
All right.
We'll get to the guild members towards the
Yeah.
end of the episode.
And we actually do
Alright.
get to see some of Ainz's pretty OP magic starting now.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually we do, and
Well-
it's so fun just to
I will
see.
preface this by episode 3 and 4 are very much kind of bleed into each other because they're basically
Yeah.
a two-parter for this arc.
Right.
Yep.
So I feel like we should just bleed them together as well.
Well, we're already talking about them separately,
Yeah.
so but we'll
Yeah.
just continue on. So wait, you said episode 2 and 3 or 3 and 4?
Three
Okay,
and
3 and 4.
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, we can just bleed those together. So after we learned that the whole thing was a setup to lure out Gazef and to trap him and get him killed. We see Ainz pull off his OP magic. He starts off by teleporting Gazef to safety and confronting the people who wanted to murder him in the first place.
Well, let's not forget the massive FU skeletons.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Mm,
But yeah. And then there's okay, so I'll just well, we're already skipping ahead to it, so I guess we'll just talk about it when we get to another episode.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Speaking as the one person who watched the dub, right? So there's a moment when magic's used on Ainzul Gone, and he's like, he like feels some pain, right? I don't know what it is in the sub, but in the dub, he literally says, "Ow, that hurt!" Literally in the whiniest 3-year-old boy tone of voice. That hurt.
That is not fitting for his
No.
character at all.
No, I didn't
that did
think
not
it
happen
was.
in the
It
sub at all.
No. Although I will say, I do like the absolute contrast between the mask he puts on as Ainz versus his actual thoughts that he's thinking about
Yeah.
Yeah.
in when
I
he
will-
hears inner monologue.
I will say for like the 2 episodes of the dub I watched in season 2, actually, Ainzul Gaon's voice, and this might just be because we speak English, is a lot more noticeable in English when he switches to his other personality.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it goes from like, I am Ainzul Gone to, oh my god, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also in this episode, we really do see like the level difference between the people of this world and Ainz himself.
And not just
Yeah.
well, not even just that, like even his floor guardians and like even Nabarogama, one character, she's in the games world about roughly level 50, and that's like on the even pretty high for this world.
Yeah.
Because-
Even the stupid little summons he made were over leveled compared to the other characters.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
like the Death Knights, like those were like in his game, like in Yggdrasil, those were considered fodder enemies.
Yeah.
In this world, they're considered a high level monster, so it gives you a sense of scale.
This will be a spoiler for, if I remember, season 2 or season 3. I
Well,
can't remember.
let's
right
avoid-
now.
Let's
no,
avoid.
no.
Let's
Well,
avoid the
we already
spoilers.
went into this though.
Well, no, but no spoilers past where I've watched, because I don't.
Well, even
If
then,
it comes
Yeah.
up organically as a plot point, just don't mention it as a
Yeah.
spoiler for season 3.
if it's
Yeah.
revealed
Or-
in season
Okay.
2 or 3, just don't even touch it.
Okay, fine.
So-
I did spoil.
We'll have a
little
discussion on
too,
season
though.
2 and 3 eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, we only okay, whatever. So
Alright.
we'll continue on. This is taking us a while, so I suppose we'll just we'll move on to episode 4.
We're already finished episode 4. We're doing 5 now.
Oh,
Start
my bad.
counting.
all right. So episode 5 then. So this is where we get into the what was her name? Clementine, and then
Yeah.
the little necromancer dude. I don't really
Yeah.
remember
Yeah,
his name.
I don't remember. But it's the dress up arc. Yay!
Yes. And we get to see Ainz take on the role of a traveler that calls himself Momon.
It's at this point in the series where it becomes very clear that this is just someone's messed up idea of a D&D game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, the creator of this series plays a lot of D&D, so a lot of the world building he did is very much inspired by D&D campaigns.
I mean,
Yeah.
not a single one of you can tell me that some of my characters don't resemble characters in this manga
exactly.
and anime.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I do a very similar thing with overpowering my D&D characters.
Well, that's also because in the original campaign we were playing, you couldn't get any overpowered characters because all your characters kept dying, thanks to our DM giving the enemies like 3 times more HP.
We love you, our old DM.
The greatest
Yeah.
of goblin warriors!
Okay, guys.
Back
let's,
to
let's get back to the
the
anime
review.
here before we
Yeah.
spend. I'm sure we can go on all day about D&D stories. Maybe
Yeah.
we will one day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just not today.
But not today.
If you
So-
give it enough likes, we might do it.
So,
Well, 2 viewers. All right. So the other characters we meet in this episode are the Swords of Darkness, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I think that's what the name is.
Yeah.
And then so basically they go on, or rather Ainz Nabe, as she is called in her adventurer form, goes on a quest to get rid of this little these little side characters,
Ah,
Clementine
here
and the
we- actually,
Necromancer.
We have the third alias for Ainz. First we had Momonga, then we
Yeah.
had Ainz Ulgan. Now we have Momon.
I mentioned that already.
Yeah.
I already said Momon. He
Yes.
goes as the adventurer Momon. I said that already.
Oh,
But
did you?
yeah, I
Yeah.
said that already.
Goes
Ah.
Momonga.
Okay,
then
we've already talked
Einstein.
about how
We already
he has
talked about
3
it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's
Move
move
on.
on. Move
Dang
on.
it, Ainz.
So he goes. So they go in. So Nabe and Momon go in to deal with this sort of essentially side quest to take out this little nefarious plot that could uproot the kingdom that Momon is visiting. Sort of. At least that was their attempt, from what it seems. And then you just get to see Ainz utterly decimate Clementine, and oh, it is satisfying to see.
And in the process, the greatest characters, the Swords of Darkness, were unfortunately lost. Oh, the horror of characters introduced for 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh, the
Yes,
horror!
such the horrors.
Oh,
the
okay. So
horror.
we're talking about this whole arc, not just episodes 5
Yeah.
and 6. All right.
Yeah.
The
We do
whole arc.
see like
do
some other
Nefirio.
stuff about them in
Nefirio.
later.
Oh
series,
yeah,
that's it.
Nefiria. That is the plot point I
Yeah.
forgot to bring up. So apparently, this guy Nefiria, potion brewer by trade, is in love with one of the girls that Ainz rescued from the village, because he gave her a healing potion.
It's a small world.
Okay,
after
but like,
all.
guys, the best character gets introduced in this arc.
Yeah.
Hamtaro!
Oh, yes!
Oh yeah.
Yes, I
No,
love
I'm
Hamtaro.
making a deliberate joke and calling him Hamtaro.
I love
That is
Hamtaro.
a deliberate joke.
I love Hamtaro. He is a great
Uh,
character. He is introduced to us first, though, as the Forest Guardian.
Yes, the guardian of the
The
Yeah.
wise guardian of the
The
forest.
wise
Yes.
guardian of the forest.
Of like
Kill
the
me, you
3
must.
guardians.
we think that he's this very threatening presence. Well,
He's
according
Yoda,
well,
but a hamster.
well, actually, if we technically go by, just gonna bring this up real quick. The chibi, apparently Hamtaro is actually a female, supposedly.
yeah.
So is she
Well-
technically?
Fun.
I just
Yes.
love that moment where Ainz like looks at her and is like, "You remind me of a creature that a companion of mine had for a pet. Really? Can I meet that creature? No, that'd be a little difficult. Dang, I needed to mate."
Yes.
Also, you need to consider like that the pet was about like something you could fit in the palm of your hand.
Yeah,
Like
whereas
Hamtaro is gigantic.
I don't think she
Hamster.
cared.
Hamskay.
I don't
no,
think she
Hamtaro.
cared.
I love Hamtaro.
Yes.
I don't think she cared.
Well,
Quite frankly.
no, she would not care. She
Yeah.
would still try anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll continue on anyway.
We'll
So
leave the details of that to your imagination.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, anyways, and then Ainz, or rather Momon, recruits Hamtaro as his companion, or one of them anyway.
Yep.
And actually, well, no, I won't say anymore, but she does actually get trained into a decent companion as a fighter, surprisingly.
Spoiler.
Hey, whatever. I mean, it's a minor plot point at most.
All right, so
Okay, but like I liked Hamtaro. Maybe I didn't want to know that.
Okay, whatever. Well,
well,
Yeah.
you liked him, Taro, so more for you, I guess.
can we take a moment to appreciate some of the flexes that occur in the middle of Ainz and Nabe versus Clementine and whatever the old...
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
loved
his name
that. I
was.
loved those scenes. I mean, it brought up the part where Ainz just utterly decimates Clementine, and then Nabe flexes on the undead dragons with 7th tier magic.
Well, Ainz didn't just flex, like, actually didn't just
He
flex, he literally flexed on her.
Yes.
Yeah, and here's the thing. He didn't even use magic, even though he is pretty much a soul magician class.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
just how
'cause-
powerful he is.
Yes, well, because in terms of a fighter, like as like a class, he's about a level 30 fighter. So he's actually, in terms of like power level, about the same fighter level as Clementine, roughly. But as a mage, he's far beyond everything.
And his raw stats are just
Yeah.
that much more powerful. Like, he literally crushes her to death in a hug.
In a hug of death,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bone Daddy Ainz gives a great hugs.
Can you not?
No. because Ainz is the
Deeply offended.
because
and
I because Ainz is the one true Bone Daddy.
Yeah.
And there's our flag.
He's a
Demonetized.
skeleton. He's a
We don't have money
skeleton.
anyways.
He's
I
a
know.
We're past
skeleton.
the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We've already got multiple flags.
Fair.
All right, so let's. I think we should move on from this arc.
Yes.
To
Let's-
the arc about Realm Shifters' preferences.
Oh yes, good old Shaltier.
Yes.
So-
Okay, I actually really like Shaltier. I think she's really cool, and she actually was originally my favorite character.
Yeah.
She
So-
was weak.
Yeah, and she's also a massive.
We're introduced.
I can't say that word.
Yes. She's very that
she's
word.
not nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
She
Let's put it that way.
yes.
Well, we get to see a lot. We get to see her Shaltier as like her full vampire, which
I was
is
gonna say I like her
Yeah.
ugly sucky face thing
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
with the tongue.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Or how about Goo Girl?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Girl.
girl's nice.
But
Yes.
her fighting Brain was pretty interesting. Like
Yeah.
with just like her fingernail, she was like her pinky finger, like
Blocking an entire sword
Yep.
with her finger.
yeah, and then
Oh.
she's like, "Wow, you're really boring."
Yes. You're really boring. I could use some more excitement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was her whole
literally
attitude.
every Mean Girls ever.
Yeah. And
Did that come out that way in the dub?
Oh, in the dub, she's like, "Really? You can't hit any harder? Is this the best you can do? Oh, I'm so bored."
okay, so for our purists out here who actually watch the sub,
Yeah.
the sub is her actually just like, "Oh, how dare you?" Or not even "how dare you," but just like, "Oh, was that it?" It wasn't even really like it wasn't even really all that mean-spirited because YouTube.
So what I'm getting
Yep.
from the difference between the dub and the sub is I did well, and the dub was far more funny.
Yeah.
The
The
dub
dub's always going to be unintentionally far more funny.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's more so just to do with the translation differences, depending on like who's translating and whatnot and
Yeah.
their interpretation of it. But anyway, so that's the Shaltier arc. Favorite character, by the way. And
Well,
then,
it's not the end of it yet.
well, it's
though.
not the end of it, but we're pretty far
We barely
along.
started it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's already episode 10.
Yeah.
The Shaltier arc goes from 10 to 13.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I was gonna get to the rest of that. So,
Yeah.
but we'll continue along. So after Gooey Girl, basically takes the rest of the cart, Slime Girl takes the rest of the cart in the characters and that weird
Yep.
snotty noble guy that I saw for like a split second.
That's
Oh,
not
no.
a weird snotty no guy. I think that was like the carriage driver actually.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. That was him actually.
Yeah.
My mistake then. It's been a bit.
Yeah.
But anyways, so then we figure out that Shaltier was attempted to be possessed by some unknown group of people
Well, Shaltier
for
came-
this season.
Shaltier chases
yeah.
recurring character number 36
Yes.
into the woods before recurring character number 36 actually has a potion that Ainz gave her that is... This is a bigger deal in the previous arc that we didn't go over because it's not something that we really needed to. But Ainz gave one girl a red healing potion.
Mhm.
In that world, red healing potions are uncommon. They have
Yeah.
blue healing potions.
Right.
Yep.
So when Shaltier saw it, Shaltier actually somehow, I don't know if this is ever made clear, Shaltier knew that potion had to have come from Ainz,
Mhm.
and she actually hypnotizes recurring character number 36.
Well, I think part of that comes from in one of the episodes. I don't know if this is just the dub, but the health potion that Ainz gives is described as being like Ainz's pure magical essence and power in a healing potion.
Mhm.
Ah.
And so that's why it's red, and so you can tell that it's his.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
you're in tune enough with his magic. That may just be the dub though, and that may be like a
that was
Well,
never said in the sub from what I
Okay.
remember.
In the sub,
Okay.
it's more like just the purest form of
Basically, the
magical
difference
power.
between blue and red is I think that the blue healing potions actually expire. They have an expiration date, whereas the red ones don't expire at all.
Mm.
So, yeah. But that's a more minor plot point, but it is a plot point anyways.
Yeah, and I think we're on episode...
We're on episode 11.
Yeah, we're on
now.
episode 11 now. And we see actually something very, very special show up in this episode. It's actually called a world-class item. It's actually something very, very special and rare. And it actually, even in Ainz's old world, this was something like extra top tier.
Yeah, it's like when you spend a lot of money in a game and you get like a 6-star ultra rare limited edition, like 1 of 3 in the world.
We get a lot of hints throughout the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Yggdrasil? His old game was very pay to win.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also,
yes.
we kind of notice as it goes on, like, at first it was like, yeah, he's this really powerful character, but, like, this is a group of the strongest players in Yggdrasil. And also, we talk about every single guild member had a world-class item?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we hear a lot about the different names of, because I was talking earlier about how I like the names of some of the members. Buku Buku Chagama is my favorite name.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you name your characters Buku Buku Chagama, I love you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Also, there is something special about this guild that we actually haven't talked about. They are pretty much all either undead or monsters. And in the game, what pretty much was that happens, like monsters and undead, they were pretty much hated. Like the whole entire thing.
Quite literally, actually. Yeah. But it was for a reason. It was because they fell under the... It wasn't...
It was under, like, I think the evil stuff,
yeah,
or
so
something.
Basically the difference was there were, like, 2, like, separate races. You had, like, humans and stuff like that. And
No, we had humans, then demi-humans, and then just the full-on monsters.
Yeah, and then the full-on monsters. And the main difference between, like, those two, like, the humans and demi-humans, and then the monsters, was that you could kill the monsters without any penalty to, like, your standing or whatever it was as a human or a demi-human. So you literally had, like, essentially evil characters. And then the guild, Ainzulgaun, was exclusively a guild of demi-humans and stuff like that.
Well, not
demi-humans.
demi-humans.
Not demi-humans,
it was
sorry.
Just
the monster.
monsters
Yeah, that's
and
what I
all
meant.
in undead.
Yeah, all monsters, undead, and stuff like that. That's what I meant. I didn't mean the demi-humans. But anyway, so that was the whole point.
Extremely interesting, but we could probably spend all day going over that guild if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think we do need to keep going.
I think so. So basically, what happens next is Ainzulgaun goes and he picks up a bunch of the world-class items. It's not really clear if he picks up all of them or just certain ones, and I think it's just certain ones that he thinks he can use.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes to fight Shalltear, who's under
like a hypnosis.
And
kind of under hypnosis.
Yeah, and he has like this really cool fight with her where he goes through and like re-equips and unequips and equips all these different world-class items that give him different abilities and powers and specialties.
Well, it wasn't actually
that's
only
during the
world-class
second
items,
half.
Okay, so it wasn't all world-class items that he used. He had the twins bring the world-class items to, like, just in case they were needed. Mm-hmm. But what he actually used to do all those equip changes were what were called cash shop items, where basically there were things that he'd bought from the cash shop in the original game beforehand.
But I thought during the fight it specifically says that, like, some of the items were from different members of the guild. Like that's
but that was like their equipment and stuff like that.
Oh,
no world-class items were actually used in the fight, from what I remember. He did, however, start out the fight with like a super tier magic spell to, like, heavily nuke Shalltear while she was in her entranced state. Because he basically one of this point isn't really, well, no, he mentions it sort of. He, in a straight 1v1, he would probably actually lose to Shalltear. Ainz would probably lose to Shalltear, so he had to use everything he had when trying to fight Shalltear, basically.
Which also, Shalltear basically goes kamikaze
Yeah.
at the end,
Yeah.
like killing her own minions to get hit points back.
in order to get health back from them.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, broken as all heck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing with Shelt here is that she's basically just a super tank. She is meant to tank all of the damage in the world.
Me.
Well, no, actually, the super tank is actually
Well, isn't that-
Concutus right there.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. But like, I mean, Shelt here as
Yeah.
a character is like pretty.
Shultier is
Shultier-
basically min-maxed.
Yeah,
No, Shaltir is more like the balanced version.
balanced min-max.
And the Albedo is actually the one which is damage focused,
Okay.
and Kakutis is the one which is defense focused.
So then I'd
So,
actually
yeah.
probably put Shelt here in like the bruiser category, where she's like
Yeah.
high health and high damage.
Heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Like all of my D&D characters.
Not that,
Yeah.
not that all of Nazarick couldn't, kill everyone in one hit and like barely take a scratch if they get poked with some sword.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Shaltir, even though she's an NPC, she is compared to about a level 90 character in Ainz's world.
Roughly.
Yeah, roughly about. And the max is
It's-
100.
So far
So,
as
yeah.
we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked enough about Shoutir's stats.
Right.
Yeah.
So that they fight,
Right.
and Lord Ainz is eventually comes out victorious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he.
Mostly due to his strategy and battle planning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He like again, like I said, he would have lost if it was just a straight one.
Yeah.
for one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
And
they
he-
just revived
Yeah, and then
Shultier.
they revived
Yeah.
Shaltir for an exuberant amount of in-game
500
money.
million gold.
Yes.
Oh.
And
But hey, I mean, they just had that stockpiled, and they couldn't really use
Yeah.
it as new
Yeah.
world currency
Yeah,
anyway.
'cause
So
it doesn't.
what are
Yeah.
you gonna do?
well,
Yeah.
it's still worth the gold amount. It's just not.
It's just not worth.
useful
It's just
as
not
money.
useful to them as money. Yeah.
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 And since we already are right now in episode 13, the last episode, in the end, we actually do find out which country was actually doing all of this.
Yeah. And that's the rival country to the Restasi kingdom, I think is what it's called.
Riestes.
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 Riestes. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
that's the
The
rival kingdom.
slain theocracy.
Yeah, the slain
Yeah.
theocracy.
Yeah.
Who was also behind the whole Gazef thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what we learn at the end of it, and then it basically that's
Then it
all.
plays the freaking banger that is the OP, and we get like taken out of the episode with that. Heck yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also get like the end credit scenes where we see the two in costume come back, and they actually get rised up to the highest rank
Adamantine.
in the guild.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Which also, speaking of
which is very rare.
references to other things inside of things, Mithril and Adamantine
Oh yes.
as
yes.
as like high
Yeah.
level like things. Loving the Tolkien references here, people. Loving them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a fantasy work is written today that doesn't have Tolkien influence.
Oh,
so.
I know, and it's
Yeah.
fantastic. What a world we live in.
Yes.
Can you imagine fantasy before Tolkien? Ew.
Well, I mean, also like there are also a lot of like anime that like take their plot synopsis sort of off of like Harry Potter and stuff like that, like with a magical school and stuff
Oh,
like that.
Yeah,
I'm
So
just
Harry
saying.
Potter is also a pretty big.
Shut up, Siri.
My God.
God dang,
Thanks,
we
Siri.
got to now end.
No, we don't.
No, we don't have
edit
to
that
edit
out.
No,
that.
it's fine.
It's-
It's Siri.
We're all professional here, right?
Yeah.
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 All
Except
right.
for your watch, apparently.
Okay, guys. So, let's.
So let's wrap this up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well-
shall we figure out what the next?
Well, no.
Well, let's do final thoughts. Let's
Yeah.
go clockwise. Start with Vorn again.
And give your score out of 10.
Yeah.
All right.
Out of on whatever rating scale you want.
Let's see. Okay, so good things about it. The plot was nice. We saw some very good character development in there. Although some of the characters though that we thought were important really weren't, and that kind of made it a little bit bad for me. But for me, this was actually a pretty solid, good anime. So I rated it a 8.5. I'm not going to say 10 for probably anything because I'm going to save that for the best of them all.
All right. very curious to consider or to see what year 10 is, Vorn.
Yeah.
But we'll get there when we get there. So, I'll go ahead and do my review or my rating next. All right. To quote Nick Neck, banger OP. We got great characters, pretty good action. The CGI was a bit weird in some places, like a little bit wonky, but it was not like overly jarring. So the CGI was acceptable. And then we also got like just tons of great stuff. Great world. And I give it a Papa Bone Dowdy out of shell tier.
This is not the type of anime I like. I'm not a particular fan of isekai. I don't really like this kind of thing. But past the first episode, it was enough to get me to continue watching it. Like, I liked the characters. I liked what they did with the characters. So, I mean, for me, that's a win. It's not going to go into, like, my top 10. But it's definitely going to be something that I could watch again if it was playing. So I say 4 Ninja Milks out of 5.
Well, I mean, I've made my thoughts pretty clear. I love the series for the most part. I think it was said earlier, CGI wasn't too great, and the OP was banger. So normally they'd get a high score, but there's one major issue with this entire series. Ainz didn't get transported to the other world by getting hit by a truck, so I give it a 0 out of Truck-kun.
Oh my.
Fair. Very fair.
Yes.
Let's begin the roll of the random anime wheel. Let's go now.
The wheel.
Come on.
I can't spell no. Next, the anime we will be
All right.
watching the next 2 weeks is...
It's got Seki happy.
Average high school life of a Fudanshi.
What?
Yes, average
Which-
high school
which-
life of boys.
I will say,
yes,
this
I've seen
is
this
an
one. This is
anime
so
that's-
funny. I think, is it that one? We'll see. We'll see.
Hold on a second.
Okay,
Hold
go
on.
ahead. Go
Shit.
ahead.
So there's short episodes. They're available on YouTube. They're like 3 minutes each. So we're just going to watch all of the episodes.
Perfect.